So today is going to be a very interesting day, to say the least, because you're finally about to hear the story of my fiance and I breaking up. A part of me is excited to share it with you, and a part of me is really ready to tell the story for the last time. And just so you know, this isn't a revenge video. This isn't to justify anything. This isn't to attack anybody. This is really just the story from my point of view. Let me be clear, I'm very happy I'm out of this relationship. I'm very happy it's over. I have 100% moved on. Please don't flame them. Please don't send them mean things. Just want that to be clear. If you do want to say anything, love is of course appreciated on both sides, so thank you for that. So let's start from the beginning. So as some of you may know, I went to Cal State Long Beach, studied engineering there. And in my third year, junior year, Shelbi actually transferred there. And we ended up meeting spring of 2013 is when we really started hanging out. And that started happening because I actually recruited her into a network marketing business at the time, one called Vima and Verve. And we were spending a lot more time together, just working on campus together, talking to people about this energy drink, and just spending time doing the business, building it together. And she was really a big reason why my business took off in the first place. After a semester of hanging out a lot, one thing led to another. That summer, we started dating. So we dated that entire summer, and after that summer, it was good, but I really wasn't feeling it, and I broke up with her at the beginning of the semester. During that next semester there, fall of 2013, we were still working together, so seeing each other, and weren't really together, but that kind of works sometimes when you see the person that you're not really with. Stuff still seems to happen every now and again. So we were kind of unofficially still together, but not really, in a way. After that semester of that happening, Shelbi finally came to me and said, you know what, either we're together or we're not, and if we're not together, I'm out of here. And so I was like, wait. Okay, we'll be back together again. And so we were. And this was, again, the beginning of spring 2014 is really when that took off. And from there, we dated for a very long time. And I'll be honest, I wasn't really excited about it. I was not really jazzed about the relationship. Really, I think what it was an insecurity on my part to where I felt like I needed her by my side to be successful in the business that I was building. And I feel like without her, I was going to fail because I just didn't think I was good enough. And that's what I made up. So I stayed with her. But eventually, of course, I grew to love her, and we had a lot of fun times together. We went to Jamaica together. It was pretty fun. We went to Lake Tahoe, skied multiple places, traveled. After that first business, we started a second business in the financial industry, and we're working together there, spring of 2015, right before we graduated college. And we started there together. And we did the money business together for about 2.5 years or so. During that time, we got engaged. I got down on one knee in front of 500 people at our company. Can you guys believe we're not even married yet? I think that's about to change. This was June of 2016, actually on our anniversary day, which is kind of cool, worked out that way. And proposed to her. We'd just been together for so long, 4 years. We had some great memories together. Again, I loved her. I trust her to the end of the world and back. And I just felt like that was the next step. We had our business together. We had all our friends together. It was kind of just what I felt like was the next thing to do. Again, did I love her? Yes. But again, a part of me was never like, oh my God, this is it. You're so excited about this. I was like, oh, well, yeah, this is the next thing to do. And again, that's just what, sometimes when you're young, you make some interesting decisions, to say the least. So then we were engaged. And we had everything together. Again, the business, our friends, we had joint bank accounts, joint credit cards. We were basically married at that point, living together. So we decided to have a long engagement, thank God. Been thinking about a year or so before we would get married. And after a couple months in, is when really things started not to go great. Or I guess you could say some red flags started to pop up. And it really started with our business. Again, we were in business together. And we started struggling financially. We had a couple months back to back, we were just spending more money than we were earning. We had a really luxurious lifestyle. She really liked nice things. I did too. We had a luxury apartment. We both had nice cars. We had an office. In our office we were paying for, I think our expenses were like $6,000 a month between the two of us without anything extra. And Shelbi really stopped, in my opinion, she really stopped trying in the business where it felt like it was all me. And she really wanted to go over something she was passionate about. For her, it was kinesiology, nutrition, working out, exercise, athletics. And so she ended up ordering a not so cheap nutrition course to become a certified personal trainer and start her own personal training brand online with like a PDF to sell workout stuff. And I was like, no worries, babe, you do you, I'll support you, I'll hold down the fort until you get this going. As she was also taking one last class at Cal State Long Beach. So as that was happening, I just remember going to sleep at night in fall of 2016, and we'd be laying next to each other and she'd be like, Taylor, when are things gonna get better financially? And I would kind of whenever we make them better? Like, what kind of question is that? Like, and this went on for months to where it was every week I was hearing this question, when are things going to get better? And I'm like, whenever we make them better, like, I'm trying my hardest. What are you doing? Or like, I know you're studying, but like, some help would be great. And that again happened for a while where we were just sinking. It was just really tough. And then come March of 2017 is really when I started getting the feelings like, okay, well, where do I draw the line with this? Like, it feels like I'm kind of just getting mooched off of at this point. Like, she really wasn't bringing any income. She would say she was really working hard, but she definitely was not. And I'm sure I could have done more, but it definitely felt that way because I was the one only really bringing in any income at that point. I talked with my parents, I talked with my mentors at the time. I talked with multiple people. I'm like, guys, like, what should I do? Like, I'm engaged here, basically committed to this person, but it feels like I'm getting taken advantage of. And so we had a really tough conversation in March. I called her one day. I'm like, hey, babe, like, I gotta talk to you. And in a gist, after tears on both ends, I said, hey, like, I really need you to step it up here. Otherwise, I think we should take a break because this is not working. And that was really hard for us. And lo and behold, on that same day, guess who happened to call her? Her new guy, DaJuan, who we had a history with in the past. That backstory is also interesting. And it happened on Shelbi's birthday, where myself, all the millennials at our office, and DaJuan went out to the Glow Zone. We went out there for her birthday, and of course, it was 21 and up night. So you could drink at this, almost like Boomers in the glow in the dark. It was actually really sick, but it was a blast. And I ended up drinking more than I had anticipated and started feeling not great. So I ended up leaving early and going home. I didn't actually say goodbye to anybody because I just wasn't feeling great. I'm like, all right, see you later. So I didn't say goodbye, and I went home and just kind of started taking care of my intoxication. So after a while, everyone starts kind of coming back to our place at our apartment, but not Shelbi. And this is the birthday of the girl. I'm like, guys, where's Shelbi? And they're like, oh, we thought she was back here. And I was like, no. And they're like, oh yeah, she left with DaJuan. And we're like, oh, okay. I called her, she didn't pick up, and then she calls me a little bit later, saying, hey, I'm gonna come back from DaJuan's, can you meet me halfway? And he actually lived pretty close to us, apartment complex wise. I'm like, oh, sure. So I'm like, kind of freaked out at this point because she's been gone for a long time. So I start walking to meet her halfway, and I see them, we're on the sidewalk, and I'm walking toward his building, and then I see them walking toward me. And then he kind of stops maybe 20 yards out, and then she continues toward me. He turns and walks the other way, she keeps walking toward me, and then just starts bawling and starts crying. I was like, holy shit, like, what's wrong, are you okay? And then she went on to tell me what happened, where she went to his place to talk about her feelings because she was pissed off at me for leaving early. I was like, oh, sorry about that. So she said she went there, he made her a drink and then offered her a massage. And I was like, okay. And she's like, yeah, well, I laid on his bed face down and he started giving me a massage. But then he literally, as he's massaging me, unclipped my bra and took my shirt and bra off. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And she's like, oh my God, like, I feel really violated. That led to everyone being so furious at this guy. Couldn't believe it. Again, we're still engaged. The next day at the office, like, myself and my executive vice chairman had a hard talk with him and said, bro, like, that's not okay. He was basically exiled from our group for an entire year. Nobody talked to him at all because, again, that's super fucked up. Just fast forward to the day I'm talking to Shelbi about maybe we should take a break because this is not working out and it feels like I'm getting mooched off of. That's how I was feeling. And of course, he happened to call her apparently literally right after I got off the phone with her. And I think she kind of got caught her most vulnerable moment when she's like, oh my God, the person I'm engaged with is maybe going to break up with me, or it's not going to work out. And he happened to be there to make her feel better, be there for her empathetically. So then they started kind of hanging out more, started talking more, and it kind of looked like he was becoming like her new best friend. And I was feeling like, okay, sure, like, no big deal. I don't really care. I'm not a jealous type. And as this was happening, they started hanging out more frequently and more frequently and more frequently. And again, we're still engaged. This is now March, April, May of 2017. And eventually I started feeling pretty weird because he's not talking to me at all. Like, he's not keeping me in the loop. Like, hey man, just so you know, Shelbi and I are gonna do this. Like, I was hearing no words from him whatsoever about any of their hanging out. Shelbi wasn't saying anything, it was just like a friend thing. And then I started hearing of like, oh yeah, like, you know, DaJuan and I just went bowling and I'm gonna go out with DaJuan tonight. I'm like, Shelbi, I'm starting to feel pretty weird. Like, it feels like you're dating this guy. And she's like, oh no, we're just friends. And I was like, if you say so. One night again, she went out with him and I'm like, this feels like emotional cheating. It feels like something's not right here. I've told her I'm uncomfortable with this and this is still happening. We're still engaged, so like, what the fuck? About a week or two more of that, and this is early May, we decided to go on a break. He was like, you know what? I'm not sure what I want. She said she's not sure what she wants. This is getting really weird with this guy. Let's go on a break. And the idea of the break was to take some time apart to see how we felt if we really missed each other. It was not a go hook up with somebody else kind of break. I went down to my buddy's place in Culver City area, LA, to kind of crash there. She was gonna stay at the apartment. We were just gonna take some time apart, you know, kind of live separately and just see how that felt. But we weren't breaking up, we were just taking some space. So, day 2 of the break, day 2, I decided to go back to the apartment to grab some stuff. Again, I had to move my clothes, my computer, different stuff to my buddy's place so I can live there. I go back to the apartment to just grab some stuff. I'm not trying to hang out with her or do anything with her. It's the middle of the day. She happens to be there. I'm like, hey, what's up? Cool, I'm grabbing some stuff. See you later. As one would have it, you know, we started talking and we've been together for 4 years, so ended up hanging out. It's later in the night and we're kind of sitting on the couch watching Netflix, watching some show, and we're kind of cuddling. And she gets a text. And I'm sitting with her on the couch, my arm's over her, and she pulls her phone out. And look at the text. I kind of look over because something is moving, right? And then I see her look at the text and turn it away from me, turn the phone like away from me. And I was like, oh, that was weird, but like, whatever. So I ended up spending the night, that night, as gravity would bring us back together. And but I forgot my charger at my buddy's place because I was not planning on staying the night there. So I usually always got up before she did. So I'm like, hey, can I like use your phone charger and then I'll switch it in the morning once I get up before you? She's like, sure, that's fine. So we slept in the same bed that night, charged my phone, woke up in the morning, switched the charger to her phone, and I was plugging her phone in, and I was like, you know what? While I'm holding this phone, let me just see what's been going on here, this conversation. I feel like it's been very vague, very hidden from me the entire time. I've not gone through her phone ever before at any point in our relationship. Let me just see what's going on here so I'm not getting duped and like I'm kind of in the loop here. So I opened the conversation with her and DaJuan, and I start scrolling through it. And my heart starts beating faster and faster. And I'm reading some of these messages. He's sending her pictures of himself. She's texting him, and I read something about condoms, and then I read something that she sent him at like 2:30 in the morning. Home, babe. And I lost my shit. And I put the phone down, I woke her up, and I was like, Shelbi, you need to tell me what the fuck is going on like right now. And she's like waking up, like, what? Like, I was like, I read this conversation with DaJuan, like, did you hook up with this guy? And she kind of like, she nods her head, she's like, yeah, I did. And I was like, did you go all the way with him? And she's like, nods her head. And I was like, I just fucking lost it. I've never been so angry in my entire life. I trusted this girl to the world and back. I would have lost $1 million fucking dollars. That would not have happened. That she would have told me that this was happening, or that she was feeling this way, that she did this with this guy. Or she would have just broken up with me beforehand. Or I wouldn't have found out the way I did. That she would have told me, hey, I hooked up with this guy, I'm so sorry. Not just me finding out, like, I was about to marry this girl, and this is what happens. This is how I find out. Anyways, I was like, all right, Shelbi, this is not a break. This is over. She's like, no, no, no. And starts crying and stuff, of course. And I was like, nope, like this is done. This is clear sign. So thanks for making my decision really easy for me. So that was the breakup. And I got my stuff, moved out, and you know, figured that out from there. And then this is where the fun began. So we officially broke up, and then Shelbi started freaking out because she doesn't have any money. And again, I've been the producer up until now. And the way it works in our business, I'm technically the senior marketing director. She was just a marketing director. We were sharing the income through my account and profile. Her account actually was negative $6,000. And that's because some clients canceled through her account. It was like, no big deal, we'll just get paid through mine. Well, now that's not gonna happen because she's not with me anymore. She's like, oh my God, how can I pay my bills? And I was like, oh, all right, you know what? Like, nice guy me, you're a human. I don't want you to be fucked. I don't want you to get screwed here. I don't want you to have to like live on the streets. I'll give you $2,500 a month for 3 months, so $7,500 total, to kind of help you pay off those chargebacks on your account, and then so you can live. But that's it. And I did that because I was already paying that anyways, I felt like. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't want her to be fucked. She's still on my team. I should still kind of override her business from now on for the future. So sure, I'll help you out. So I decided to give her that money, and we shared the business together, but everyone was still under me, and I had the highest pay level and she did not. So to make it as fair as I possibly could, I transferred everybody on my team under her. Again, she's still under me, so it was me, her, everybody else. And her override on everybody else was the same as my override on her. So basically anything that our team did, we would make the same amount of money on. I'm like, okay, again, if that was me and I never got the highest pay level, and I was breaking up with somebody, I wouldn't want that person to get fucked. So after this happens, a week or so goes by, we're still trying to work together, we're broken up, it's getting really tough. But we end up meeting with our executive vice chairman, people that kind of run our office. They've been in the company for 15 years or so. And we're meeting with them, and I told them this plan and stuff too, and then Shelbi comes up and was like, oh, actually, yeah, no, I want to get transferred to DaJuan's team. I was like, myself as well as our executive vice chairman strongly advocated against that, really because we're like, Shelbi, just be your own person. Lead your own team, get to senior marketing director by yourself. You don't need to transfer teams to do that, to transfer teams to give up everything you already built to then start over on somebody else's team. A guy you just started really talking to like a month or two ago, to leave your fiance to do that with somebody else, like you're doing the same pattern. You're gonna be under somebody else's team, under their hierarchy, to where you're kind of sort of starting to date this guy, but if it doesn't work out, you're once again in the same boat where you've built something under somebody else where now none of it's yours and you're kind of just shit out of luck. So we're like, be your own person, do your own thing. Well, I think really for her, why she did not do that was, and this is not an insult, this is just my authentic thoughts, she really just isn't confident in making her own money. And so she feels like she needs somebody else to kind of do that for her. She needs somebody else to really provide for her. When we were together, I paid all the bills, I handled all the money stuff. That's what she's used to. So she found somebody else to do that for her, you know? And I think that's why really she initially latched onto him like an octopus so fast, and he was willing to. So great match made in heaven, I guess you could say. So one way or another, I found out that Shelbi had actually worked out a deal with him to where all the business she was going to write was going to go under him, and he was going to pay her under the table. I was like, okay, well, now she's on my team, just siphoning money off my team on the override, and she's giving all her business to him and her recruits to him. Like, what the heck? So I'm like, okay, well, screw it. Like, let's transfer her to him. And usually to transfer, you have to sit out for 9 months. I mean, you can't do any activity, you can't recruit anybody, do any business for 9 months before you can transfer free and clear. That was not probably gonna happen. So we tried to figure out a deal where it's gonna transfer Shelbi to DaJuan. He's almost getting an employee, someone's gonna make him money now and forever. So, and when you're selling a business, you don't do it for free. So we were trying to transfer Shelbi for some agreed upon amount. And the agreed upon amount was $5,000. We were gonna go through with it, they backed out. We were gonna go through with it, they backed out. Meanwhile, I'm just losing money from that override that Shelbi's siphoning off my team because she's not doing any business, she's just giving it to DaJuan, the little bit that she is doing. So I'm like, okay, well, like, let's get this done. So we finally had it one more time, we're about to go through with it. He's gonna pay me $5,000, then she's gonna transfer to his team, and they backed out again. And I was like, oh my God, this is so silly. So I'm in the office one day and I call her after they backed out again, and I'm like, Shelbi, like, we gotta talk about this, like, come on. So she comes back into the office, and I'm walking down the hall and I see her come in, and she already looks heated. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. So we both go into my office, or we close the door, and we both sit down, and she just starts laying into me like, all right, listen here, motherfucker. You're gonna transfer me to DaJuan with like this person, this person, and this person. And I was like, oh no, Shelbi, that's not how that works. See, again, you have to sit out 9 months, or if DaJuan wants to pay me, then you can transfer. She's like, no, you listen here, like, this was gonna happen, like blah, 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 just going off on me, and starts threatening me. Starts making up false claims and false things like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna say that you signed for clients. I'm gonna say that you did this and that. And I was like, whoa. I was like, okay, well, Shelbi, get the fuck out of my office. And she's like, no, I'm not leaving. And I was like, get the fuck out of my office. And she's like, no. So I stand up, and then she still sits there. I'm like, get out of my office, and she still is not getting up and leaving. This is my space that I pay for. So she pulls her phone out and starts aggressively texting. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she doesn't say anything. So I grab her phone, and she's like, give me my phone back. And I was like, get out of my office. We both stand up. She kind of starts backing toward the door. So then she's like, starts kind of crying. She's like, I'm gonna go get help. So I close the door, and I'm in my office, lock the door, close the blinds, and I sit back in my chair, and all of a sudden I hear a bang on the door, boom, 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 boom. Figured it'd be DaJuan, right? And I was like, go away, DaJuan, let's get this over with. This is all just a big waste of time. He doesn't say anything. He runs away. Then all of a sudden he comes back, I hear him run back, and then my door is getting unlocked. And I was like, what the hell? So he unlocks my door. He had actually grabbed our office assistant's keys, come back, unlocks my door, comes in. I stand up. He comes right next to me to where like my desk is against the wall to where I stand up. He's now blocking my exit to the door. And he's like, hey man, like, you know, why'd you take your phone? Give me your phone back. I'm like, dude, it's such a fucking waste of time. Like, let's just get this over with. Like, we're wasting time. We're not being productive. Like, let's end this. And he's like, all right, fine. Well, give me your phone back. Starts grabbing my pockets. Starts grabbing my pockets. And I was like, whoa. So the door is like kind of cracked open at like a 45-degree angle. I take her phone out in my back left pocket where I have it, and I go to throw it out of the office to get him out of my office because he's blocking me, he's confronting me. So I go to throw her in front of the office, and of course, not left-handed, I kind of miss. and I hit the wall, and it kind of ping pongs where it goes boom, 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 hits the wall, hits the door, bounces out of the office. He looks at the phone, looks at me, looks at my computer on my desk, leans in front of me, starts pushing my computer off my desk. I'm like, hey! And so I kind of catching the computer, because he's like throwing it into the wall. I'm catching the computer, it kind of slides into the chair across from me there, and then he like leans up, I lean up, we're both like basically touching each other at this point, and fists just start flying. We're not really sure who threw the first punch. Like, I got him a couple good times in the face, I know he got me, you know, I pushed him against the whiteboard, we kind of spun around, I fell back into the chairs, I'm hitting him as we're going down. What felt like a lot longer, I think it was only 20, 30 seconds of going back and forth. My door's still open, somebody runs over, he stands up, they grab him, I sit up, I'm instantly calm. If any of you know me, which I'm sure most of you do, I'm basically never angry, and that's my first fist fight ever. So I'm instantly calm. Our executive vice chairman run over, they're like, oh my God, like what happened? Like who threw the first punch? And I was like, honestly, I couldn't even tell you, like we were just so close and it just happened so fast. I'm instantly calm, and he started yelling, he's like, hey, like he pushed her, like she's bruised. I was like, what? I didn't even touch her. Like she backed out of my office willingly, so that's just made up. And then our executive vice chairman started shouting things like, you're never gonna be allowed to work in this office ever again. And he's like, fine. And of course that didn't happen. So if you asked who really won the fight, no one really won. It's kind of just a fight, but I can tell you it felt pretty good to get a couple good shots in there. So again, we all worked in the same office. Everyone still thinks that her and I are together, and they start seeing her hanging out in his office, and they're like, what's going on? Like, this is pretty weird. And then all of a sudden he's posting pictures of her like on our group chats with like 300 people. And there was just like, eventually got passive aggressive. So like his team was saying stuff to my team was saying stuff to his team. It's just this huge like drama fest. So I survived in the business and built it for months and months and months afterward. It was definitely very emotionally trying. It was pretty terrible. It's pretty hard to really be in that environment and see this girl that I loved be with someone I felt was so shitty. I think if he was a good guy, I feel much differently. I just felt like she was so manipulated and controlled, and it sucked. Because part of me like felt for her, and part of me was like, you're being stupid, like what are you doing? Like everyone can see this but you. People would come up to me in the office and be like, oh my God, like I'm so sorry, like this is so terrible, this is so wrong, you don't deserve this. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, I appreciate it. You know, it is what it is. I'm in a better place, I dodged a bullet. I'm just glad that I didn't let that breakup and that whole drama really get to me. Once I walked away, I got a very interesting phone call. Shelbi's pregnant. And that blew me away, but also not surprising. I was with Shelbi for 4 years, and you know, we didn't get pregnant. Here they are a couple months in, and she's pregnant, so how did that happen? Conspiracy theory, we think he did it on purpose, because that way he could anchor her to the business, because I guess they had been fighting already off the bat, and there was like a lack of trust, surprise, based on how they got together. That was one way you're gonna get someone to stay with you if you get him pregnant. So that's just the theory. I know she was considering getting an abortion, and actually she reached out to me and it's like, hey, like I'm pregnant, can't believe it, thinking of getting an abortion, I just want to let you know. I mean, she even called me one night, like 11 p.m., I'm at a bar with some friends, and I get a call from her, and again, we're not talking at all, and she basically just calls me, she's crying, she's like, oh my God, Taylor, like I'm so scared, like I'm in the bathroom crying. I was like, oh my God, like what's going on? And she's like, well, DaJuan just got escorted off the premises of the apartment complex here. And I was like, what? Why? She's like, well, like somehow I was like, I was on the floor on my back, and he was like standing over me, yelling at me, like, you're not gonna get an abortion. She's like, I was so scared. So like, I locked myself in the bathroom, like called the police and had him escorted off, and he was like yelling, kicking and screaming the whole time. He was just crazy. And I was like, holy shit. Then she asked for my advice, like what she should do. And you know, with the whole abortion thing, I'm like, do what you want, like trust your gut. That sounds like a pretty unhealthy relationship. Like nothing like that ever happened close in our 4 years together. So like, probably get out of there. DaJuan, Mr. Controlling, went to the lengths to force Shelbi to block myself and my coach. Shelbi told me, she messaged me on Instagram later, like he literally sat on the couch over me and watched me block both of you guys. So like, this is crazy, because I'm like, I'm not even talking to you. Like, you've reached out to me and I told you like my thoughts, and like, so that's pretty crazy. Kind of sums up with the whole like, what are you doing? And so sure enough, in January, she called me and said, you know what, like, I'm gonna get the abortion, and I'm not gonna stiff you, like I'm gonna pay you back that money I owe you, and I just gotta get out of this relationship. And I was like, oh, for sure, like no worries, like I understand, like I'm glad you're doing what you think is best for you, like, get me what you can when you can. Okay, right? A couple weeks go by, haven't heard anything, haven't checked in, haven't been following anything. I just, let me look on Instagram and see like what's going on. she posted a picture with him a couple days ago, and I was like, what? I thought you guys were, she canceled the abortion meeting, or she bailed out last minute, so she didn't get the abortion. And I was like, oh my God. So she reached out to me on Instagram, and I talked to her for a little bit, and she asked me some questions about some video recordings or some audio recordings we have for the business. And I was like, hey, for sure about that. And just so you know, like, I saw you guys, looks like you're apparently not breaking up and leaving and doing what you said you were gonna do. So like, what can you get me when, based on our agreement that we all had? He's like, oh yeah, I told you times are tight or whatever, and like blah, blah, blah. And like, and all she threw in there, like, oh yeah, just so you know, like, I don't want your opinion on like everything to like blah, 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 like, don't want your opinion, like, thanks. And I was like, really? After I've given you money, gave you the team, transferred you for free, I gave you the team again for a second time. You call me when shit goes haywire, I'm there for you, trying to be the best guy I possibly can, and then you still give me fucking attitude. I'm like, you know what? Thanks for making my decision easy for me. Have a nice life. And I blocked her. So that's the whole story. And now, look at this world. It's a beautiful world. I feel great, excited for what's next, excited for the future. That's the breakup. Again, more of the story, dodged a bullet, wishing them the best. Again, please don't go after them in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter, I don't care anymore. I just really want you guys to know the story because it's a crazy ass story and it deserves to be shared. So hope you've enjoyed this vlog on the journey to 1 billion. Now we're gonna get back to some productive shit. Let's get it.